She's right.
No, she is not.
Aw, man, he's gonna try to blame this on us.
It was you.
We're just children!
Then you must be the funniest weirdo in the world, Gonzo. Be nice to me, Piggy, or I'll tell everybody where you hide your chocolate bonbons.
Owen, it's time.
Nobody's forcing you to watch, you know.
Hello and welcome. My name is Witty G, and I talk about odd, obscure, and nostalgic cartoons on the internet, attempting to find out what made them special to begin with. And today, we're talking about a phenomenon that happens a lot in the medium.
That's a damn phenomenon.
The babyfication of franchises.
We're just children!
When your favorite cartoon characters are suddenly turned into babies or drastically younger versions of themselves, and all of a sudden they got new friends that you've never seen or heard of before.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Something that's been happening in cartoons since the 80s and shows no signs of slowing down. We're going to be checking out where this originated from. What defines this transformation? What shows have taken this phenomenon in new and interesting directions? What cartoons fumbled the bag? And whether Paul Tippett's words ring true when he said, "In the animation business, you know, there always used to be the sort of joke. When you run out of ideas, you just do Muppet Babies." There are tons of cartoons that utilize this same marketing technique, and we won't be able to get to all of them today. Just a few that really stood out to me. But if this is something you'd like to hear more about, leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Or you can do all three to really get the message across.
It's time.
Gosh, maybe we should make a real movie and go to Hollywood and be famous.
Well, perhaps.
I could direct it, and I could be a movie star.
So it all starts in the 80s, during the creation of the book Muppet Show Bill. Jim Henson suggested, wouldn't it be great in that tiny little book to have tiny little pictures of the Muppets as their tiny little selves? In other words, as babies. However, it was too late to change the book, but the idea was dropped into the minds of the other creatives involved. So the staff created some sketches of the Muppets as babies, one of which was a baby piggy that was so good that Jim Henson decided to merchandise the design. Throughout the year 1983, they created various Muppet baby-themed merch that was pushed out while Henson finished up on developing these baby versions of the Muppets. The following year, Muppets Take Manhattan is released, and a scene from this movie features babyfied versions of the characters.
Tommy, just imagine, wouldn't it have been wonderful if we'd known each other when we were little? I'm gonna always be loving you.
Well, it wasn't always going to end up this way. Turns out, Henson was so hyped about the Muppet Babies idea he was finishing up that he convinced Frank Oz to include them in the film, replacing the original fantasy sequence. It was also considered to be one of the most challenging scenes to shoot because the puppeteers had to perform the baby versions of the characters by using their stubby little limbs. At least according to Wikipedia, and they got no citation to back it up.
You nerd.
Anyway, the idea gets picked up for a Saturday morning cartoon, but Jim Henson was actually trying to step away from doing any morning cartoon productions at the time. However, this was so good that he had to get in on it and make something to change TV forever. And that they did.
Kermit and Uncle.
Yes?
I am?
I thought he was the sheriff.
I thought he was a frog.
And through the combination of Henson and Marvel, this is only the second strangest Henson combo I've ever heard of. Together, they set the standard for what babyfication of a franchise looked like. And one of the most important steps in babyfying the characters is to expand the roster. In Muppet Babies, Scooter was given a twin sister to balance out the boy-girl ratio and provide an alternative female character for audiences to look up to. Adding characters that have never been a part of the canon or even mentioned is a big part of this process. Honestly, just throwing away the whole canon is usually a pretty important part as well. It doesn't matter that these guys met each other for the first time in a different context.
Just imagine, wouldn't it have been wonderful if we'd known each other when we were little?
Or that Skeeter isn't really brought up again. Babyfication alters the original universe, drastically splitting it off from the main thread or something. Another important benchmark that Henson and the team provided when youthifying the characters, specifically when it's to an infantile age, you throw them in a nursery or daycare and have the babies learn lessons about life in fun and creative ways. You gotta also give them a babysitter character that watches over them. And in Muppet Babies, this nanny character was fortunate enough to be named Nanny as well. I bet her name was like the sole reason she got this gig. The audience only ever sees her from the neck down, with the intention being to replicate the way a child sees adults. Faceless, I guess. Now that we know some of the major rules laid down in the first version of Babyfication for cartoon characters, let's see what made this show so special. When watching this for the first time, I found a lot of things I liked about it. The character designs are funny, full of personality, and adorable. No wonder they sold so much merch. Kermit is in this sailor outfit, and I have no idea why, but he should always be wearing this. It fits him perfectly. Animal is the youngest of the group and talks like a baby and kind of dresses like one too. It's perfect. The voices, though shrill looking back at it, are unique and capture the fun of the movie cast and the puppeteers' performances. The episodes, however, are usually not very driven. They're mostly like kids hanging out and having small issues with each other, like someone won't share or someone needs to keep a secret and the others harass them till they reveal the truth, like a CIA interrogation. But even the most mundane of stories are heightened by the baby's imagination, a core part of these episodes.
Come on, Fozzie. How are we gonna get him out of there?
We'll do what we always do. We'll use our imagination.
One of the main goals of the show is to celebrate creativity and imagination. The Muppets flow in and out of this imaginary world.
Hey, Gonzo, what's wrong with your car?
Oh, gee, I guess I'm not pretending hard enough. How's that?
Better.
So a game of pirates can actually involve cannons and rum and Somalians. That's when the use of mixed mediums comes in handy, because the show will splice together the animated series with real-world footage of jet planes taking off or an ocean liner moving across the sea. It's fun, and sometimes the stories aren't so mundane, like when the Muppets went to England to help Princess Diana solve the case of the missing nannies in Buckingham Palace.
Oh, I was just admiring this crown, Your Highness. Call me Di, and why don't you keep the crown? I have dozens of them.
Maybe that's who Meghan Markle should have called on during this whole drama. And there are other times when they get pretty deep for a kid's cartoon, like when the Muppets kept shitting on Fozzie because he tried to be funny, but wasn't.
What's the difference between an orange?
Go ahead, Fozzie. Finish the joke.
It is finished. That's the joke.
See, Nanny?
So he gives up on comedy, and they work to teach him how to be funny. This one's all about being a good friend, building up your friend's confidence with constructive criticism, the effect words have on people, and how practice makes you better at your craft, all while teaching in a simplistic and easily understood way the different approaches to comedy.
Wait till you see this. This is what we in the weird business call Weirdsville.
But that's the thing too. Sometimes these guys are pretty rude, like especially Piggy. I know that's her whole thing, but this seems like a lot for a 3-year-old.
You mean Alice in Wonderland, don't you? If I meant Alice, I would have said Alice, you nerd.
Overall, the show still holds up.
And I never knew you had such smelly feet, Fozzie. Why don't you wear shoes?
Why should I? I'd still have bare feet.
It's comedic and provides fun and heartwarming lessons to the audience it was trying to reach. It's imaginative, cute as hell, and doesn't make me want to puke when I look at it.
Ew.
It is just perhaps a little too long for the episodes that are a bit too mundane, and some of the voices are.
Wait till you see this.
But now we know the rules this set as a standard, and with this groundwork laid, let's see how other cartoons take advantage of the formula. We moved to 2002, when Warner Brothers took its shot at the babyfication of a cartoon franchise. Once again, this show was birthed out of the success of merch, centered around some of the most recognizable characters in the world turned adorable toddlers.
Well, it looked good on paper.
Characters known for this.
You traitor!
Don't beat me, Massa. Please don't beat me, Massa.
Here's yours, Bowlegs. one for you, monkey face. Here you are, slant eyes. So. Ah, mein Führer, it's not what you're thinking. It's all a mistake. I kiss my Führer's hand. One little, two little, three little engines.
Make it stop.
I kid. They're known for much more funnier and politically correct antics as well. Baby Looney Tunes was a show I grew up with, seeing it on Cartoon Network as a kid. Way older than the demographic for the cartoon. It was weird. This would be airing between Ben 10 and Camp Lazlo or something, because they definitely had all of the same audiences. Either way, I have nothing but nostalgic memories for this show, simply because of the incredibly infectious theme song, the character designs, and the colors of the show. The pastels are a great aesthetic for this sort of cartoon, and the watercolor-esque design of the backgrounds gives off a children's book aesthetic. So let's see how much of the formula this show follows.
You know, TV can be educational and very entertaining, but you need to get away from it sometimes, too.
We already know it was birthed out of merchandise. Is there an extension to the cast? There is. We have Petunia and Melissa, who were both abruptly added to the cast mid-season 1. They're both additional babies added to the nursery, with personalities that fit the cast of diaper wearers.
Ugh, look at your arms. Well, they're all flabby. You need some exercise.
And then we got Floyd Minton, the grandson of Granny, and someone who helps watch over the kids when she's taking care of them. And with that, we know this show follows that rule as well, having a character watch the kids in a nursery or daycare-like setting. And I like this interpretation of that rule way more than the original Muppet Babies. In this, they have a canonical character act as the babysitter. I think this is a nice touch. Baby Looney Tunes also has their most crazy character acting as the most immature of the group. Grow up. Unlike Muppet Babies, this show doesn't utilize its imagination as consistently or vividly, but it does have a more concise and direct way of telling stories. Most episodes are focused on teaching a lesson to the young audience, as opposed to just enjoying the characters being small and adorable.
Well, aren't you just a special little mister?
They even had an educational expert examine the series, even though it wasn't explicitly designed to be educational, displaying the determination to make TV that had a positive impact on the children watching it.
But that's so nice. Why would you do that?
There's also no use of mixed media in this cartoon. Do I think this is better than Muppet Babies? No. Even with bonus points for nostalgia, it just doesn't compare to the imaginative environment of the nursery and the other cartoon. Nor are the characters as marketable. They all wear diapers. Where are the sailor suits, the dresses, the cool sneakers? Where are the horrible voices? And the cast is just not as charismatic as the gang. That could also be because this show is trying more so to teach you than hang out with you. And I don't think I should be learning anything from someone in a diaper.
It looked good on paper.
Or someone who has done this before.
What's up, Jack?
How you know me, doctor?
How's it coming, Master Elmer? Tote that board, lift that bell, yassa, yassa. What do you say, chum? What do you say?
It looked good on paper.
This remake of the 80s cartoon takes the original and ruins it. In one decision. They got rid of the sailor suit. With Tom Warburton, creator of Codename Kids Next Door, as the executive producer, and Eric Shaw, who previously wrote for SpongeBob SquarePants, as the story editor and co-producer, the show takes the original two-dimensional animated series and brings it to the third dimension, upping the vibrancy and shortening the episodes to the standard 12 minutes. The decision for the dimensional change seems to stem from very tangible reasons. One of the elements noticed by the team in terms of Muppet appeal is that when kids see them, they want to touch them. In an interview with Screen Crush, Chris Moreno, another producer on the show, said, "We wanted people to want to reach out to these characters and engage with them. We felt like to do a traditional 2D show would be a level removed from that." And another benefit of using CGI in this cartoon was to give the Muppets jiggle physics.
What?
Well, let's have Chris Moreno explain. There's this thing we call jiggle tech that Snowball developed for our characters. It's the idea that when Kermit moves his arm, there's still a little bit of an overshoot wiggle that's built into the characters. It isn't something that has to be animated. What's nice is it creates that random movement that you see in the adult Muppets flopping around. All the Muppets have those jiggly parts where, say, the fabric on a character's arm is loose, which is pretty cool.
Take it away, Dr. Gonzo! Yay!
Let's see what rules we follow.
We built a dungeon? Why?
Duh. For people who break the rules?
Rules?
The cast has been expanded and cut in some way. We no longer have Skeeter, Scooter, and Ralph as main characters, but a new one has joined. Summer Penguin, this fun-loving, turtleneck-wearing bird.
Summer Penguin. P.I.
And the creation of this character was a pretty long process that saw her in the shape of a giraffe, deer, and sheep before settling on Penguin. They worked to make sure this character was not just a good design for animation, but could translate to a puppet form as well.
I'm a criminal.
A minor character addition worth noting was that of Rosie, Rosie's adopted sister.
Take some time and get to know him. I'll be back in a little while. But be sure and take good care of him. He's very young and very delicate.
I was outside talking to my parents, and they just told me some really, really big news. I'm gonna have a new baby sister.
Oh, wow, a new baby sister?
My family is adopting her.
We even get episodes dedicated to him meeting her for the first time, learning what it means to be a big brother and going through the emotional process along with his friends to be that big brother he's learning about.
Lesson number 2 is story time. To be an expert big brother, you gotta know how to tell your little sister a great story. Could I get a volunteer, little sister, please?
Me? Please tell me a story, big brother.
They're really beautiful episodes, and I like that the show takes time to give importance to these additions. I hope to see Rosie as an actual Muppet one day.
Here I am, Fozzie.
Ah!
Hi, everybody.
Nanny is still here and is rocking a much worse fit. Who dressed her? A baby? Hannon doesn't matter, per usual. And Animal is still a big baby.
Helicopter!
Helicopter, helicopter!
Well, kind of. Technically, this show takes place a year after the original show, so he's not dressed as a baby no more. He grew up. Just like Baby Looney Tunes, these episodes are much more concerned with teaching the audience as opposed to just entertaining them. The episodes focus on teaching about sharing, not being a control freak, and being honest, in realistic and entertaining ways, often drifting out of reality for these very vibrant sequences. These are less frequent than the original series, but these episodes are also far shorter.
The truth is, Fozzie, I don't know.
Bunsen, I don't understand. There's something that you don't know?
I don't know a lot of stuff, including where rubber chickens come from.
So why did you say you did?
I guess I like being the kid who knows more than everyone else. And I was too embarrassed to admit sometimes I don't.
Well, I'm glad you told the truth, Bunsen, but I wish you'd done it before you got us stuck in a tree!
And the transitions don't feel as seamless as the 80s version, at least in my opinion. Just like the original, the other cast of the Muppets will show up as baby versions of themselves, and that's always a fun time. But seeing Sweetums miniaturized is still a little jarring. In this show, the cast is a lot nicer, even Piggy.
Really? You're blaming the pig?
Don't worry, Fozzie. We'll help you find your lunchbox. Well?
What are you waiting for?
After you, your swineness.
What is she saying?
Something about, spaghetti squash? Soup?
Sorry?
Yes, I'm sorry.
She's not just saying the worst thing out of her mouth anymore.
Maybe I
going too far.
You nerd.
But I do miss the edge of old cartoons though. And also, unlike the original, there's no use of mixed media. Overall, I think this show is as good as the original, but for different reasons. If you want to enjoy the Muppets as babies doing fun things in daycare and occasionally getting a cute life lesson, go to the original. If you want a more heartwarming story about the Muppets learning to love each other for who they are, go for this one. Or you can separate them like this. If you like short, three-dimensional episodes, pick this one. But if you dig longer, two-dimensional episodes, this is the one for you. Either way, you're gonna be happy.
How do flowers blow kisses? With their two lips? Get it?
It's locked.
I have my breaking and entering merit badge.
Moving to another 2D to 3D transformation, Camp Coral was the first spin-off of the SpongeBob series, predating the confusing project known as The Patrick Show. In this series, we see SpongeBob attending Camp Coral, hosted by Mr. Krabs. That employs your favorite Bikini Bottom citizens as camp counselors, helping raise the 10-year-olds.
They're big and strong.
Crab even employs Plankton as a chef.
Hey, what do you call this slap?
I tell you, but I'm not supposed to use that kind of language in front of children.
We are in a weird universe split off, and it only gets stranger. The inspiration for this Babyfication was due to the third movie in the series. It was also rocking that 3D art look before the show, which was surely the direct reason to keep this animation style. The main gist of the show is watching SpongeBob and the other campers pursue various badges.
It's locked.
I have my breaking and entering merit badge.
Where have we seen shows based around this concept before? And yes, Steven Hillenburg did know about this show before his passing, even though Hillenburg is known to have said, one of these days, they're going to make SpongeBob babies, that's when I'm out of here. So the show was made to be a cash cow, push merch, and piggyback off the success of SpongeBob, but not without the creators' consent. Let's see what rules we follow. Is there an expansion of the cast? Not in the traditional sense, actually.
Hey, let's put on shoes.
There's these two weird guys that show up and partake in schemes and tricks. They don't have a lot of explanation for where they come from or what they do. I mean, it's a SpongeBob show. But one of the moments that stuck with me from these two was when they led SpongeBob and his friends to a nudist beach. But turns out it was a new dust beach.
The new dust camp. New dust.
But then these two goobers showed them the actual nudist beach.
And if anyone asks, this never happened.
So yeah, they're odd. Is there a daycare? Kind of. There's a camp with counselors, which are basically multiple nannies working at the same job.
Excuse me. We are engaged in a life or death game of escape from Mom's basement. Deluxe edition.
Well, now you are playing hot potato.
Is it trying to teach you anything? Fuck no. Honestly, unlike all the other Babyfication cartoons we discussed, these episodes feel very much so like regular SpongeBob episodes. There were only a handful of times when I was watching the early seasons of the show that I found some episodes that would only work with the Camp Coral cast. But most of this show, it feels like it could be any episode in the later seasons of SpongeBob, except for the nudist beach one. That was funny. And felt like classic SpongeBob. Do we use mixed media? Yes. There are various times when a gag or bit will break the fourth wall or our sense of reality. Like when Krabs is rendered to his 3D model during a freakout, or that time Patrick was dressed as a crossing guard. Is the youngest or craziest portrayed more as a baby than the others? Yes, the youngest acts and is dressed appropriately for baby behavior, and that character would be this adorable render of Pearl.
Oh, Missy, you really do have the strangest taste in fashion accessories. She's not an accessory.
Before she was a full-grown whale, but after her mama had left her with crabs. Not that kind. I'd love to know the full story here. I would have loved a show that just was crabs and Pearl and how this whole thing happened. Is imagination a big part of the episodes? Not like in the other shows. Obviously, SpongeBob episodes are gonna be bursting from the seams with imagination and creativity, but our characters aren't changing their world with their minds, like in the other cartoons. And with all the other rules out of the way, let's talk about the canon. It's a mess. I've only seen a bit of the first season and don't know what other secrets are yet to be revealed, but this show gets weird. The canon is thrown out the window and destroyed, nuked to Kingdom Come. But in a way, it is also reliant on the original series, because they're intertwined. In this universe, Mr. Krabs doesn't have the secret formula. Krabby Patties don't exist. In fact, they were actually created by SpongeBob at this camp when he was 10 years old. When needing to make cheap food for the camp, he cobbled the patties together. Then Sandy burns the recipe by accident, so SpongeBob can't make any more patties.
It's okay, Sandy. I'll always cherish the flavorful memories.
Take over the world with a patty? What was I thinking?
But hold up.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Turns out, Sandy's only in Camp Coral because she's on a mission. She has a direct line of communication with Sandy from the future in 2D.
This is Little Cheeks calling Big Cheeks. Come in, Big Cheeks. Over. Affirmative, Little Cheeks. This is Big Cheeks receiving you from the future. How are things going in the past?
They're going great, Sandy. Your plan worked perfectly. The formula burned up before Mr. Plankton could nab it. Now it can be safely rediscovered in the future. Good work, little Sandy. I knew sending you to Camp Coral was the right thing to do. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Over and out. Bye, future me. Mission accomplished, timeline preserved. Now everything can continue just the way it's always been. Totally normal.
So that's insane, and retcons the original meeting of SpongeBob and Sandy. Also, SpongeBob gives Plankton the inspiration to get into the chum market.
Maybe you could conquer the world with a different food. How about chum? I'll bet you could at least take over the eastern seaboard with that.
We find out Gary was a forest snail that SpongeBob met at camp. SpongeBob and Patrick knew Squidward way before he moved next to them. He was their camp counselor. The timeline is whack.
I tried out a lot of different personalities before I picked the perfect one you see before you today.
But there is this cute trait that I like about the show. All the cabins are sorted by vibe or aesthetic. So there's the rich snobby cabin, which is led by this lady, the muscleheads, which are led by Larry, creepy kids that are led by Nosferatu, the dorky kids who are led by a young bubble butt, the sardines cabin, which are led by themselves as a whole, you know, hive mind type beat, and the autistic and artistic kids led by Squidward. The show is weird.
Anymore. I'm free!
But not as weird as the original.
Hey, you can't talk to my grandson like that. Someone ought to put you in a mental hospital.
Someone should put you in a box floating down the river, Grandma!
Nor does it seem to be better than the original. You know, it would be hard to compare the two, but it's only really an aesthetic change between Camp Coral and the original SpongeBob series.
Owen, those are mummified organs.
Cool! A magic tennis racket!
Ooh, break that! Break this!
The show we returned to 2018 for. Yes. Total Drama Rama. a spin-off of the total drama series that felt like it came out of nowhere. For absolutely no reason, all of a sudden they were babies.
We're just children!
Horrible people I watch scheme, manipulate, harass, and lie were now turned to diaper-dumping preschoolers who were gonna bond and be kind to each other in a nursery setting, right? No, that's not at all what happens.
Kids, there's no other way to say this. We're broke. We have no money. Zero. We can only afford to feed one of you. To the other. It's a miracle, kids! We're saved!
My ice cream money.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What rules are we getting? Unlike all the other shows, the cast was actually cut down because it would be insane to have all the people in the total drama series in this one daycare. The one employee that works here would lose his mind.
Do you think this is funny?
This show also follows a rule from another foundational cartoon in the Babyfication process, Yo Yogi. That's for another time. This show shared the universe with a bunch of other total drama related shows, 16, The Redonkulous Race, and all of these. But surprisingly, no Stokes. So we got a cast of 11 of the fan favorites, throwing them into a nursery and into a genre of show drastically different than anything else the creators have ever produced. All without merchandising these characters beforehand, unless you count the previous shows and franchises. So yeah, we're in a nursery, and similar to Baby Looney Tunes, we have a canonical character as the nanny. Chef, the demented sidekick and lackey of Chris McClane. He is a totally different person before being taken under the wing of the maniacal madman.
Who am I supposed to watch Bachelor Island with now?
So with that, I think the canon is pretty effective, and this takes place in a whole different universe than the normal show. This cartoon doesn't use mixed media, but does utilize these talking head sections where the characters chat directly to the camera, like what you see in The Office or the Muppets version of The Office.
I'm so proud of those bad guy busters. They finally figured it out.
The youngest of the characters isn't dressed as a baby or made visually younger than the rest. It's also pretty hard to tell who's oldest or youngest just based on their appearance. Is imagination a big part of the episodes, having the characters transported to a new world of their creation? No, this isn't necessary.
You got the same thing as me!
When the kids do fantastical things in this series, it's not necessary to drift off to a daydream world. Like in the superhero episode where Izzy literally trashed the daycare with weights borrowed from Chef.
What in the name of apple turnovers happened in here?
Thanks for letting me borrow these. None of this would have worked without him.
She needed no reality bending magic to do it. But she can also affect traffic lights with her mind, so...
You guys get after it! I'll slow it down from here! I can change traffic patterns with my mind. There! That was a big one!
That was a coincidence, right?
Right.
Come on! I got ice cream to sell!
One of the things I really like about this show is its dark self-awareness. Like in the episode when Chef gets a fish for the kids as a pet. The children, being horrible at taking care of themselves, struggle to keep the fish alive.
Not only is he soaking wet, but he's naked too! There, this heater ought to warm him up.
Does anyone else hear cats? And why does it smell like a seafood restaurant?
But Chef is too stressed about telling the kids about the imminent and unavoidable presence of death. So he keeps getting new fish to replace the old ones. Then Gwen calls him out and is like, just tell them, they'll get it.
Just tell them the fish are dead.
Come on, girl, I ain't no child psychologist. How am I supposed to tell them something like that?
Fine, I'll tell them.
He doesn't listen and keeps the cycle going.
I'm pulling for you, new Richard Swimmins. Maybe you'll be the one that makes it. Either way, those sweet, innocent kids can never know.
Chef?
Until finally, he tells them that the fish have been dying because they aren't taking care of the pets well.
Does this mean all the other Richards died?
Yes, they did. But don't feel bad. You kids didn't do anything wrong.
So what do they say? Something like, I'm sorry we did this? Or we have to learn to be more responsible? Or something wholesome and understanding like that? No. They blame Chef for not being honest with them straight up.
That was really irresponsible of you.
What?
We thought Richard was invincible. If you'd said something, we could have saved the lives of dozens of fish.
They're children after all. How would they know how to take care of anything?
Yeah! How are we supposed to know fish don't like soapy water, or being launched into the air, getting boiled on a heater, or being...
But I thought telling you would hurt you.
Bad, Chef. Bad.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's a pretty fun subversion, and an oddly dark lesson for a kids-themed show. Yeah, the cast is super snarky and shows a different type of babyfied product than what's usually offered. Similar to the OG Muppet Baby series, these guys are pretty mean sometimes.
But isn't it kind of mean to mess with someone's personal life? Toying with people's hearts isn't very nice.
What's the harm? So he thinks he has a secret admirer. Big whoop!
Actually, that would make him feel pretty special. Special is nice.
They're manipulative, witty, and clever as hell, but also very caring and kind too. The duality of childhood.
First, they're sour. Then they're sweet.
Something that I think this show has perfected that no other show on this list has is making a cartoon that is consistently entertaining for both adults and children. How does it do it? With Chef.
Do you think this is funny? Do you?
Look at his face! It's hilarious!
Chef not only is full of personality, but deals with the struggles adults have too, all while balancing watching a bunch of rowdy children. It mirrors what an adult watching this cartoon with their kid might experience. Chef literally is doing taxes one episode, while trying to find something fun to distract the children with, so that they don't distract him from doing his taxes.
Sorting receipts all night. Just 40,000 more to go. You can do it, Chef.
Hey, Chef! Chef! Hey, Chef! Do birds have hands under their feathers? Asking because last night I had chicken fingers, huh? You can't have fingers without hands, right?
Izzy, I need to finish my taxes today. So please, go do something.
That's basically parenting. So after diving into all of these, let's rank them in my personal opinion. Starting with my least favorite, it's Baby Looney Tunes. I love the theme song and the aesthetic, but without vivid, imaginative sequences, the show isn't as exciting as it could be. It is an okay slice-of-life cartoon for kids though. Next is Camp Coral. Interesting alternative art style, quirky setting, and a weird canon. I like a lot about this, and I don't think it deserved the hate it got when it was first released. But I'll just watch SpongeBob if I want to watch SpongeBob. Next is Muppet Babies OG. It's charming, the first, and nostalgic for so many, but it's a little too mundane and directionless for me sometimes. And I like the storytelling just a bit more in the next option, Muppet Babies 2018. Shortens the runtime, adds a dimension to the art style, and doubles the amount of heart in the show. The only things I don't like about this show is the art style, the lack of a sailor suit, and the nanny's outfit. Everything else feels just right, and this show clearly has a lot of love put into it. Lastly, my favorite is gonna have to go to Total Drama Rama. I'm surprised too. It made me laugh the most and kept me wanting more episodes more than any other on the list, which is weird.
Chef! I can't find my socks.
Cody, Chef needs a little privacy. I'll help you in a minute, okay?
Are you going number 1 or number 2?
You kids shouldn't be...
Hey, Dad! We're out of popcorn and I'm so hungry I could eat a horse!
Izzy, get down from there right now!
People eat horses?
No, Cody, not usually. Tell him, Izzy.
No, they don't eat horses. They turn them into glue.
I went in thinking this would be the worst of the bunch, but I was pleasantly surprised. All of the cartoons were good and the culmination of the work of massive teams to create quality entertainment for children, and each show succeeded with that tenfold. So if you liked a show that wasn't my favorite, it doesn't mean you have bad taste, or that I do.
Objection, Your Honor.
People just enjoy different things, and I'm glad I was able to share my thoughts and interests with you. If you liked this video, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike. I've been Woody G. Be happy, be healthy, be kind to someone, and I'll see you later.
It's time